You are about to witness a global movement. The medical system has failed us. Pharmaceuticals are designed to make us sick, weak, dependent. Not anymore. This is the Medicine Girl podcast with renowned healing expert and registered nurse Robin Stebbins. Every week, we shine the light on new ways to heal your body from the root, ignite your inner healer, and tap into your divine wisdom. Begin to live harmoniously with your mind, body, and spirit. You are stronger than you think, braver than you realize. Now is the time to wake up and start living healthier, wealthier, and laugh out loud happier. And here we go.
Hello and welcome to the Medicine Girl podcast. It's me, Robin Stebbins, and today I am so excited to have my good friend Julie Cuccia with the Mandala Spa here in beautiful Benicia, California. And the whole precipice of this interview is really to show different modalities to be able to activate your inner healer. And Julie is probably the best person I know on this planet who does work with crystals and different rocks and minerals. She has an innate knowledge about it and how we can use that for healing our bodies. So Julie, can you tell me first, how did you get into even working with crystals and knowing anything about them?
Well, let's see. I first had an interest in crystals probably about 10 years ago. My mom, believe it or not, she started collecting crystals and not to use them for any healing purpose, but just because she thought they were beautiful. And at the time, I was going through a pretty intense divorce. I had lost my father, and then the divorce came right after. So double whammy, big transitions, life changes. And so my mom had bought me this big hunk of amethyst, and it's gorgeous. I still work with that crystal today. And it kind of spurred an interest. Okay, why is she giving me this for healing and grief? It's like she kind of knew more on an unconscious level, not really conscious of what she was doing. And with that, my interest started growing, and I started collecting myself. Over time, I started wanting to learn more. So I went to local classes here in Benicia down at Angel Heart. I did my own investigation through books, started attending shows. That's pretty much how I got into it.
I love that. And I love, and this I can say is true for me too, it's that unconscious attraction I have for certain stones or crystals. I can't explain it, but they speak to me, and it's like I just want them either on my body as a piece of jewelry or in my house. So it's almost like whatever healing mechanism comes through you, it doesn't really matter. It still works.
Right.
But then, so how do you use, and can you explain a little bit about what the crystal work that you do and the crystal Reiki and the crystal facials, how does that work to help somebody change their energy, or what exactly does it do?
Right. Well, we're all energy, and the crystal kingdom is also all energy. And they are such great helpers. I mean, Mother Earth has supplied these wonderful crystals for us to use in so many different ways. So when someone comes in and they are open to the idea of energy healing, it really gives a great start to that whole process. You have to be open to the idea of believing in something that you cannot see. I like to activate my crystals. I like to ask them if they will serve this particular client for their highest good. And they are more than willing to work with us. I don't actually hear them speak. A lot of people say that they do.
Like English?
Like they
or
like literally hear them. It's, for me, it's more of a feeling. Like I can feel them out and their energy, and just choosing a particular crystal for someone who's on the bed, I'll just kind of have that gravitational pull toward that crystal. So with Crystal Reiki, it's interesting because it started out like thinking that Reiki was just this all-powerful one modality healer, blah, blah, blah. And I was so excited. And well, come to find out that the crystals really wanted to be involved in that process. And as soon as I invited the crystals in to the Reiki healing, it really took off. My healings, they're not my healings, but what the healing energy that was coming through me was a lot more powerful, just because I had the assistance of the crystals,
right?
As well as welcoming universal life force energy, which comes through the Reiki. So it's all about being that open channel, and even with the crystals, and they're more than happy to help.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because it's a creative process too. Everybody comes in needing something different.
Yeah.
So now it's like I create these beautiful grids on top of the client's body, and they're just so pretty. Like, and they're all different and they're all unique.
Yeah.
So
kind of like a kaleidoscope, you know, it's going to be different every time.
Yes. And they're so powerful, and everybody has a different experience. And like I said, it all depends on the client's openness to the process of energy healing. That's the most important.
So you have to stay open, but so does the client. So that's the channels. And how do you get yourself open?
How do I get myself open? Well, I have a daily practice that helps to open me. I start my mornings with my crystals, in meditation and in Kundalini yoga. So I am working with crystals like all the time. It's not just I come in and say, hi, let's get to work.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a pretty strong relationship with the crystal kingdom.
Yes.
So that's how that process happens for me.
And because I've done a couple of the crystal healings with you.
Yeah.
And I say healings because it's just, I'm open to almost any modality. That's just how I came into this world. So I can't really take credit for it. But as someone that's laid on the table, I can feel the crystals working. Now, I feel them vibrating. I feel my heart vibrating sometimes. I'll feel different parts of my body vibrating. I feel energy coming in. I feel energy being released, that I'm not doing any of it. I'm just kind of like watching a movie. It's all passive for me, and keep staying open and allowing. And if the judgmental thoughts come in, or the self-critical thoughts, or the what am I doing? Am I really spending money on this? Just observing them, being kind, being gentle with myself. And that just keeps the flow, I think, open. So what do you do when you have somebody you feel that's maybe more closed?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when that happens. You usually don't realize that's happened until the whole process is over, which for me, I mean, I kind of think that part of that is that spirit wants to work anyway, whether they're closed or not. Because I believe that somehow something might be seeded for another time to open up in that person. It's just not apparent when they're with me. And I'll know right away. Once we're done, I'll know right away by their reaction. They usually say, oh, well, yeah, that was nice, or I didn't feel much, or, you know, they just have they don't have that energetic little sparkle in their eye that a lot of people will get after they're done with the process, because they feel cleaned out and they feel re-energized. I mean, and make no mistake, the crystals that I use, all crystals, they're living beings.
Mm-hmm.
They are alive.
Yeah.
They are not an inanimate object.
Right.
They are living.
Yeah.
And so someone who is open is going to feel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think what I noticed is when I take away my senses, because that's what gives everything that in this three-dimensional world form for me. When I get rid of that sense, I know I'm energy vibrating at a certain frequency, and I see the crystals vibrating at a certain frequency, and I try to just simply connect with that energy and say, you're welcome in, help give me serve my highest good, or take away what's not serving me. I do that when I hike. I go, I'll put my third eye to a rock that speaks to me, meaning it's just the one rock I happen to see, or the one that looks energetically open. Put my third eye and I can see kind of like a spiral of my molecules going into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's how I ground, or that's how I download. So is it something similar, like the crystal energy goes through you, or how can you help us figure that out?
I don't know, but it's beautiful what you just described, because you're connecting with the elementals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a beautiful process. Now, when we're in a room, we're not in the outdoors.
Yeah.
So we've kind of brought the elemental kingdom in, being the crystal kingdom. Yeah, I don't know. I really, that's one of those things that I think it comes down to having faith.
Yeah.
You either believe in that process, or you want to believe in that process, or you don't. I mean,
Right.
am I answering your question right?
Yeah, I think I tend to be more on the side of helping those that they want to be open to this type of healing, but the programming that they've been through, and the brainwashing of our society, and the domestication of us as children, and the shutting this down. I think we're all born so open to these modalities, but as we get older, and as we go through the school system, and our parents, whatever they've said, they've shut it down. So to somebody that really needs something to release, and they've tried everything else. They've tried Western medicine, they've tried maybe therapy or what have you, and nothing's really worked. So to be able to maybe shift their perspective just enough to allow an opening. So for me, I've taken people on hikes and shown them my process, and to see if they can connect with the rocks. And it's helpful in a way just to say, suspend your disbelief right now. Just stay open to the possibility that it could work.
Right.
And yeah, you might feel silly putting your head to a rock, but there's no side effects. It's free, and it really does change my body. And I know it does, because when as a registered nurse, I go see patients, and I was seeing a lot of patients right after I bought my house. I was in panic mode, thinking I didn't have enough money. And so I was seeing like 6 or 7 or 8 patients a day. And I was starting to develop all these really strange symptoms. I was itching all night long. Another one, I had an eye infection. All of these things that I was manifesting in my body were from my patients. They all had these different symptoms.
Wow.
Yeah. But I wasn't grounding every day. That was the only thing that was different. I wasn't going out in nature. I wasn't putting my third eye to the rock. I wasn't allowing that energy to be released from my body. And I was getting sick. And that's just on a really short scale. So I know that was really long and drawn out, but just a way to maybe open a crack.
Well, yeah,
and let the light come in.
It does happen. Not to say that it can't happen when somebody comes in here and they're not really open. I've seen it where they've come in not really open, and then it's just like that little tiny whatever sliver cracked them open.
Yeah.
And they were like off and running, which is great. Come in, get your little shake up, and go out in the world and do what you're here to do. Yeah, on a collective scale, we're wakening up we're awakening really quickly. And I see the shift in a lot of people. It's really starting to happen, but we still have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. Some people are still going to choose not to awaken.
Yeah.
And that's their soul path on their journey.
Absolutely. And for me, it's to allow people, if they want to choose either shadow or they want to choose to stay in the same place, that's a beautiful thing too. And for me to allow that to be beautiful and not think that any of it should be different than what it is. But what I really would just like to speak to is how much it's helped me because of your connection to the crystals. So, I mean, I have my rocks and crystals at my house, but I don't have the same connection that you do. So as you being this conduit with this crystal work, it potentiates them, or it, awakens them in a way that
or validates it more for you.
Not that I don't think it validates it, because it's almost like I need you to activate the crystals with your energy and your knowledge, because I think we're all here on this planet and we're all have we have a unique gift that no one else does. It's, everything is different, and there's a reason for that. So your gift is certainly not my gift. And I think we're not meant to either be alone. We're not meant to be hermits. We're meant to connect. And I think what I've seen with my connection with you is that it activates through the crystals the healing for me that I couldn't have.
That's really beautiful.
Otherwise.
Yeah. Well, definitely, we're all here to support each other. Once we can get past our humanness and our divisiveness and all this polarity and this 3D that we live in, we're all from one source, and we all come in with a different blueprint. I like to say blueprint because, it's our DNA. It's who we are, in our humanness. We have this great, higher self that, we came in to do these certain things, but yet we're all here helping each other. And make no mistake, I mean, talk about past life now. A lot of us have traveled long and hard and through many lifetimes to be here right now alongside each other.
Yes.
Like, I think that's so cool. Whenever I think about that, I'm like, wow.
Well, and if you really tap into the everything that went into us even sitting here on the planet at the same time, it will blow your mind, and the vastness of space. And even if you just try and put just a sense on how tiny we are in this vastness of space, and the time frame of humans even on this planet, it will blow your mind. So there is, I feel, a purpose behind it to maybe evolve into knowing ourselves more deeply and understanding truly what love is.
Yeah, and getting on with the journey. We we get a little lost in the illusion and all the mundane, and a lot of it is illusion. And it's like, what did you come here to do?
I love that.
What did you come here to do, and why aren't you doing it?
So let me ask you, what did you come here to
do? I came here to serve. I'm of service.
Yeah.
I came here to serve and to be a way shower. And it's taken me the greatest, a large amount of my life to figure that out, but it's okay. It's okay. That was how I planned it.
Yeah.
That was what my high soul, or before I came into this lifetime, was planned. And now it's on, and I can't turn it off even if I wanted to.
That's a beautiful thing, though. It gave me chills, because I think the greatest enemy to each of us is ourselves.
Yes.
Standing in our own way, or it can be getting underneath the trauma, because we all experience trauma, whether it's in this lifetime or we bring it in from past lifetimes. It's real, and it's in our bodies, it's in our DNA. And
it is the greatest temptation that we face, is to not be ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And how do you, and we've talked before about this, so I kind of know a little bit, but how did you tap into being okay and showing us who you are?
Well, I mean, I have to admit, it's been quite a process. I don't want to glamorize it at all, because a lot of people will say, oh yeah, you just woke up and you were all that and blah, blah, blah. And really it's not. I've gone through a lot of things to get to where I am today. It started with the death of my father and going through a really traumatic 20-year marriage, and then ended in a really ugly divorce. It changed my life, but all that messy humanness, I like to call it, got me looking. It got me searching. What is this?
Yeah.
It got me curious. And I just followed that feeling of curiousness.
Yeah.
Sorry about background noise. I just followed that feeling, and I just kept going, because I just kept feeling that there had to be something else. And I actually fell into so much fear after my divorce. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of living. I was afraid of dying. I was afraid of making my mortgage payment. I was afraid of buying groceries. I was afraid of, looking at my bank statement. I mean, you name it, I was afraid of it.
Wow.
And I just decided I have to do something about this. I can't live this way. And it was just trusting that process and going from one thing spiritually and looking at it. I had tried Christian church early on, and it was putting me in a box. It was making me wrong. It was blaming. And so I fully stepped away from that. And it took me a while to even do that too, because there was so much conditioning with that. I grew up with that. And I was so conditioned, like, to be in that box. So that was all like this really kind of long process over the last 10 years. That just, I would say within the last, 4 or 5 has gotten me to where I'm at now. In this process. So wow. When I look back at it, it was just a lot of ups and downs and a lot of learning. I threw myself into I was reading every self-help spiritual book I could get my hands on. I was attending classes. I was going on retreats. I was just seeking. And I learned a lot. And I learned that, there's a balance to that too. That eventually you have to come to this point where you're just, okay, I'm just okay. And I'm just doing it, and I'm serving, and I'm living my mundane life. I'm a wife, I'm a stepmother, and, and I still go to the grocery store, and, I'm, just me, but yet I have this other side where I am totally divinely connected. And I'm learning how to live that simultaneously. If there's such a thing, I'm learning how to be in both worlds, and know that it's okay, that really where we find our ascension and our awakening is in our humanness. That's where we find it.
And I think not just the humanness, but the messy, the ugly, where we fall away from what we maybe consider our spiritual path, or whatever it is. There's beauty in that. And what you're talking about, after your divorce and your father dying and all these things creating this fear, it's like the fear was so beautiful because it brought you to seeing who you are. And had you not seen who you are in truth, you wouldn't be able to serve. I wouldn't have been able to see you. You would have still been lost in fear. I can't see you when you're lost in fear. And for me, I can see way underneath that, but still it's not a way that you could serve and connect and heal others, or help that healing process. And I say heal others by meaning you're so clean as a conduit that yes, you can allow that universal healing energy to come through you. If you're lost in fear, it's blocking it. But again, not to say that fear is wrong, because it's part of us. And it will.
Or not to say that it won't creep back in.
Yeah, of course it will.
Because it does. And that's the thing. There's no arriving on the journey. There's no arriving. It's just journeying and doing the best you can.
Yeah.
There's no, oh yeah, I'm here.
Or fixing yourself, or, oh, okay, now I'm healed. Now I can serve in this way. It's like you said, it's an ever evolving process, and it's like a wave, and it's not like, oh, this wave was better than the wave 10 years ago. It's just another wave.
Right.
And how are you handling it?
And not judging it all the time, and looking at it and hoping for, a different projection or a different outcome, or judging if it didn't come out the way you thought. And it's just really come it's just really come a long way from where I was at in the beginning. But I really want to, serve, and I've learned that really dropping into my heart and coming from a heart-centered place is the only way to do it.
And that's a beautiful thing. And I just would like to say, kind of as we close, is that I really appreciate you going through all the things that you went through in your life, and doing the work, going on the next retreat. But, and I like that process, because for people on that track, knowing that it is messy, knowing that it's not going to be and this one retreat isn't going to heal you or fix you. It's no such thing. It's recalibrating you, and it's bringing you closer to knowing yourself in truth. And I'm glad that you are seeing who you are in truth, because it's such a beautiful thing for me to be able to see and witness. Kind of like witnessing a sunrise.
Right.
I had nothing to do with the sunrise. But it's beautiful to observe somebody awakening and seeing their beauty, their power, their magnificence.
Right. And make no mistake, we are very powerful beings.
Yes.
With a lot to do.
We do have a lot to do. And I think we're just scratching the surface, and being able to show people who we really are in truth. Not just the light. Right. But the messy side.
The messy side.
The messy side, the fearful side.
Pioneering, this new golden age, this age of Aquarius that we're in. And we are pioneers, helping to show the way, so to speak.
Agree. Yeah. And you are a very powerful way shower that I am so grateful to have in my life.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful for you too.
Thank you. And that would be any closing thing to kind of connect people, or if they're interested in crystal work. I'll have all the links to your website and any information, but any last little tidbit to help people connect to you, or how they could maybe come and see you, or
well, I'm here in Benicia, Mandala Well-Being Spa, and you can book appointments online. I do offer crystal Reiki healing service. I also offer a crystal facial, which is a crystal grid, kind of in synergy with a facial. It's real beautiful, actually. And we also do a goddess circle here once a month, and that's listed as a class on our website. And that is a real beautiful thing to participate in if you're a female and you're looking for learning more about your divine feminine, your divinity. that is a great thing to participate in.
Yeah, and I can say from personal experience about the Goddess Circle, um, I've never been one to enjoy group settings. I tend to be the one like way in the back of the corner next to the door in case I need an exit strategy. But the Goddess Circles that you've created is what you say in the beginning. It's like, it's a safe place where you're not judged. And the energy that you create around it with the crystals and your energy is beyond belief. That warmth, it's the only way I can describe it, and it probably won't make sense to a lot of people, it's just like being back in the womb. It just, there's nothing that you need, and it's just all of that stress drops away, and you connect with other women doing the same thing. So you get to see each other's soul in a way.
There's a vulnerability there, and it's very healing.
Yes.
So that's something also. It's always on a Sunday at 12:30, and the dates are listed on the website, Mandala Well-Being Spa.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, my beautiful friend. And
Satnam.
Satnam. What does that mean? Satnam.
Satnam is identity truth. So the truth is in your identity.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. Satnam. Satnam to everyone. Thank you
Satnam.
for joining us. And I'll have all the links listed below. And if you have any questions, you can text me, or even better, you could take a screenshot of this episode and leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe. Thank you, everyone.